So Gable Stevenson had a fight at Dirty Boxing this weekend, and it turns out he's a piece of shit. He's a piece of shit, and we're going to go into it today. First part of the video, we're going to look at his performance and talk about it, and then we're going to get into why this guy is a piece of shit. Okay, I didn't even realise. I must have been living under a rock, but I saw this tweet here. Genuinely hope this guy ACLs himself or pops for a billion PDs or something and gets nowhere. Can't believe this disgusting freak is allowed in the sport. I had no idea. So I looked into it, and it's pretty bad. It's pretty fucking bad. Although he wasn't convicted of anything, it's kind of, he's not been convicted through a loophole, not through his innocence. So we'll get into that a bit later on. But for now, first part of the video, I'll timestamp it. So if you want to skip to that part, skip to that part. But first things first, we'll watch his performance. Okay, so 13-second KO at Dirty Boxing against a bum, Billy Swanson. 3-fight losing streak. Okay, just lost. Sorry, 4-fight losing streak. Lost. Just complete losing. Okay, to this guy. I mean, look at it. 33 seconds in round 2. 1 minute 52 round 1. 1 minute 20 round 3 here. He's just getting knocked out. He's just getting knocked out by guys. Kind of a bum. So obviously they want to match up Gable Stevenson with him to get a nice KO to make him look good. And bearing in mind, Gable Stevenson is being trained by Jon Jones. Of all people, Jon Jones has picked up Gable. What a great role model to be training under. Let's watch the fight.
Cannabis-infused elevated seltzers. Gable Stevenson, Billy Swanson. We're set to go in our main event at DBX Fight.
This is the fight we all came here to see tonight. Here we go.
Stevenson!
I mean, it's a cool KO. It's a cool KO, but what does it really prove? I mean, this guy's been getting knocked out left, right, and centre in all of his fights, you know? So he's like, okay, it's just a flash KO for Gable Stevenson for people to talk about. I mean, 1.1 million views. It clearly works. And then he does a post-fight presser where he says, so basically his goal is to come to the UFC, needs a fresh face and an American that can beat all these other guys, go there and win, and he wants to be UFC champion. Okay, which is, you know, I guess, who doesn't want to be UFC champion? It's fair enough. I mean, why not? Why not? And you watch that, and if you don't know anything about Gable Stevenson, you probably think, oh, this is, you know, this guy's kind of, you know, he's just a, you know, he's a college wrestler, wants to transition into MMA, fucking blah, 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 blah. And because he's coached by Jon Jones, and Dana White, for some reason, sucks the balls of Jon Jones, for whatever reason, I don't know why, he'll probably get a UFC spot relatively soon, especially after this viral KO. I mean, 1 million views on this, you know, Jon Jones. There he is. I think that's Jon Jones. That looks like a fat old Jon Jones, you know.
He had those hands. He's been working on those hands.
Yeah, I mean, he's coached by Jon Jones, so he's probably going to get there. But then I read this, obviously, I said at the start, and I'm like, what's going on? What's going on here? So, let's move on to the juice. Minnesota wrestlers, including one from Clovis, suspected of criminal sexual conduct. Now, this was in 2019, alright? So, a while ago. Former Clovis High School wrestler was arrested on Saturday, along with a University of Minnesota teammate. That's Gable. A charge of sexual misconduct. Dylan Martinez and Gable Stevenson remained in jail on Monday. The pair was arrested after someone reported Saturday night that they had been raped and went to hospital for treatment. The alleged attack happened shortly after 1 a.m. So basically, they got sent to prison. Or they got arrested, sorry. Not sent to prison, but they got arrested for misconduct. So I was like, okay, let me have a look, because obviously he didn't get charged for it. So he's innocent, right? He's innocent because he didn't get charged for it. I'm not accusing anything or anything. I'm not saying anything. I'm just asking the questions. So I looked it up. I looked into it, and basically what happened was, so this woman was drunk, and Gable and his friend were intimate with her. You know, they had a bit of a good time. Well, them two did. Her not so much. She was drunk. Bottom line, she was drunk, and they took an advantage of her being drunk. She consented, although she was drunk. I mean, any decent human being sees a drunk a drunk girl, and even if they come on to you, you're gonna say no. You're gonna say no. You know, it's kind of just like it's not even an unwritten rule. It's just like decency, and you know, it's. In some cases, some states, not in this case, but we'll get to that later, that is technically, you know, it's grape. It's grape soda, all right? But it turns out, right, the loophole is, and it's called the 2019 MN loophole. All right, this one. Another related issue that was not fully closed in 2019 but was widely discussed was the intoxication loophole in third-degree sexual conduct law. This law stated that a person who was sexually assaulted whilst voluntarily intoxicated was not considered mentally incapacitated for the purpose of the statute. I can't read. Making it difficult to prosecute cases where the victim willingly consumed alcohol or drugs to the point of being unable to consent. So basically, because she chose to drink and chose to get intoxicated, it doesn't count because she chose to get drunk. Have you ever been drunk and just done stuff? Not like out of your control, but you just do shit, and then you wake up the next day and you're like, what the fuck did I do? And then someone tells you, and then you go, oh my god, I can't believe that I did that. Why would I do that? You know, kind of the same thing here. You know, yes, she chose to drink. Okay, but this is the loophole here. She wasn't mentally incapacitated. So basically, what they wanted to be is a vegetable. They wanted there to be a vegetable that couldn't move, couldn't speak, basically was unconscious. Then it'd be an issue. Then it'd be a problem. Okay, which I think is kind of crazy. You know, it's kind of fucking wild. So that basically they go, well, technically she wasn't unconscious. And she wasn't in a vegetative state, so therefore we did nothing wrong. We were in the right. It's like, no, she's intoxicated, taking advantage of her. I think that's pretty, it's pretty reprehensible, in my opinion. So that's the loophole. And another thing is, she went to the hospital for a sexual assault exam, an SAK, because allegedly they used, foreign objects put inside her, blah blah blah, all that stuff. I know this is a bit of a grim video, but we need to we need to bring to light this Gable Stevenson guy. All right, he's a piece of shit. So basically, they say that everything was consensual, but the after the exam, the sexual assault exam, it showed trauma consistent with assault, but there's no DNA from either guy on the bottle or the key areas. Okay, and there's alcohol confirmed in the system. So although the tests showed trauma consistent with assault, because they found no DNA on those areas, they couldn't prosecute them. So basically, she was drunk, but she wasn't drunk enough. She wasn't, incapacitated, fucking passed out. And although they found traumas that coincide with assault, because there's no DNA found from Gable or the other guy on those areas, they went, nah. This isn't enough to prosecute these guys. It was the loophole. And you know what's funny? Well, it's not funny, but this loophole was eventually closed by lawmakers in 2021, meaning that if they were prosecuted for this crime after 2021, they'd have been found guilty of it. But because it wasn't closed in 2019, and the loophole was still there, they were all good. They were all good, but they closed it in 2021, so basically, if it happened now, he'd be fucked, and he'd get charged for it, pretty much. So we got saved by a loophole. And this is the guy that Jon Jones, of all people, is aligning himself with. Surprise, surprise, by the way. Well, 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 is all I'll say to that. Well, well, well. You know. What a surprise Jon Jones is aligning himself with Gable Stevenson. Gable the Grape. That should be his nickname. That's a good... Bless you, love. That's a good nickname. But yeah, I thought I'd voice this out there. Gable Stevenson. You know what's wild? Because he's aligned himself with Jon Jones, he's instantly guaranteed himself a fan base. The fan base is retarded, but he's still got himself a fan base, which is kind of crazy. We will be preying on the downfall of Gable Stevenson, taking advantage of people who are intoxicated for his own benefit, but not getting charged because of a legal loophole that states that they need to be literally unconscious for it to be assault. Kind of crazy. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about Gable Stevenson. Are we excited to see him in the UFC? I would be, to see him get flatlined, but I can't really gauge anything from this performance here, because it's like, yeah, he knocked the guy out, fair enough, but who the fuck is Billy Swanson, bro? Who the fuck is Billy Swanson? Lost in bare knuckle, lost in whatever the fuck that is, lost in the PFL, lost in Bellator, all by finish. On a losing streak, easy layup for Gable, gets it done in 13 seconds, but fucking hell, I mean, I don't know. I just don't support pieces of shit, I actually have a moral compass that tells me, hold on a minute, this guy took advantage of a drunk woman and only got let off because of a legal loophole. Fuck this guy. Fuck him. Like and subscribe, links are down below. Until next time, I'll see you in a bit.